Hey guys, welcome back to Pretentious Pundits, a podcast where we discuss all things football and pretend to know what we're talking about. As you can see, I'm back with the lads. There's Yasir, there's Fawaz, there's Shashik, and there's Hari. And we're back with our game week preview. And today we're going to be talking about game week 4. A lot of interesting fixtures. And let's just jump straight into the first fixture of the game week. That is Chelsea versus Crystal Palace. Both teams have had a slight dip in form. Chelsea picking up a draw at West Brom last week, and also Crystal Palace losing to Everton. Controversial game, VAR controversy regardless. Do check out our episode on the VAR controversy on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And the highlights will be out on IGTV and YouTube soon. Sorry for the delay, but please bear with us. Anyways, I'm going to get into it right away and ask the Chelsea fan how he's feeling about the fixture. Are you feeling relatively confident because of the way your team fought back, or are you kind of feeling let down because of the midweek fixture against Tottenham that you guys lost?
Talking about the weekend against West Brom, that fixture, I think it was disappointing at first, but then Chelsea showed a bit of resilience, and I think the academy boys stepped up in Hudson-Odoi, Tammy Abraham, and Mason Mount. So I think it was. Yeah, Chelsea had a bad result in midweek as well. I think the first half performance against Tottenham was relatively good, but then in the second half, Tottenham they raised their game and they stepped up the gear, and they got their goal and won on penalties. I think it was a relatively good performance from Chelsea, but second half, I think defensively we were not that great. And West Brom result as well. We dropped 2 points there because it was just defensive errors and. We have to rectify those mistakes, and hopefully in the next game we do against Crystal Palace. I think it's a must win because we have to bounce back from the previous 2 results, because we haven't won a Premier League game in the last 2 game weeks. So I hope Ziyech is back in contention, and Pulisic is also back in contention. So hopefully they try to make a debut for themselves in the Premier League, and hopefully we get to see a Chelsea win. As a Chelsea fan, obviously it's going to be a really tough game, because Crystal Palace have been really good.
They're in a good form.
Yeah, exactly. I just hope to see Chelsea win this in the weekend. This is the first fixture of the game week as well, so 3 points hopefully.
Speaking of Chelsea versus Tottenham in the midweek fixture, one thing you cannot avoid if you've been on the social media is Eric Dyer.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, Eric Dyer left the pitch in the middle of the game to go to the washroom. And
to answer the match's call.
Did he win the man of the match after that?
He
did.
He gave it to the washroom.
He gave it
and
to
the really funny thing is, Chelsea got a counter attack. Like, I think they played a ball through Hudson-Odoi and he missed the chance, which was lucky for Spurs because the game would have ended. I think it was 1-0 at the time, and then Hudson-Odoi scored. It would have been 2-0. The game would have been done and dusted. But Hudson-Odoi missed, and then Moutinho just ran straight back into the tunnel to get him back as quickly as possible.
I mean, it's just hilarious. It's just hilarious.
I feel Spurs won because of the washroom break. Like it was the time when everything.
This is exactly like Giorgio Shelby for Liverpool a lot of seasons back.
Yeah.
Back when he did play for Liverpool, and I mean, the guy literally left the pitch to go take a dump.
I think that happened again. I don't.
Yeah. Anyways, not the only crazy thing to happen this week, but we also find out that Sadio Mane has tested positive for COVID-19, so he'll probably be missing out the next few game weeks for Liverpool. Luckily for Liverpool fans, there's an international break in between, so I guess he'll be back for the game week 5. And swiftly moving on to the next fixture, Everton versus Brighton Hove Albion. And I honestly can't split these two sides purely on the basis of how well they've performed since the season has started. Brighton last week again lost because of a controversial decision, but regardless, they played really well. and Everton have had a perfect record so far, won all their games, and it's just going to be a very scintillating fixture. And I just want to know from Fawaz, uh, considering how well Brighton have played against you, do you see them replicating the exact same thing against Everton?
Yeah, so series Everton Brighton, it's an interesting fixture because, like you said, both the teams are doing really well. And yeah, last game Brighton were very unlucky with the decision against them, but they played really well. So Everton are going to have a tough, tough game finally this season. Yeah, they had against Tottenham as well, but Brighton are going to give them a really tough fight. Especially they have to watch out for Tarek Lamptey, then Neil Maupay. These both players have been
Leandro Trossard.
yeah, Leandro Trossard. How can I forget that guy? These two, three players have been like very, very important for Brighton, and as well as the whole team. They are supporting these three guys, and so yeah, these three guys have to be like kind of marked out of the game. But I'm sure Ancelotti will have a plan, especially the form Everton are in right now. They're playing brilliantly. The midfield has settled in really well, and Richarlison, Calvert-Lewin especially, he's just getting goals, he's just scoring goals for fun now. So that's what they lacked last season, and they've shown that they can play brilliantly this season. They lacked the goals, but they are getting the goals now. So I think Everton Brighton, it will be a very tight game, but I think I'll go for a draw for this one.
Right. So basically, for those of you who don't know, Fawaz is a huge fan of Neil Maupay, and I am a huge fan of Leandro Trossard. The way they play, I mean, since last season, me and Fawaz have just been hyping those two up, and you can see why now. You can see why now. Leandro Trossard's shots are just brilliant to
And
watch. His dribbling, his pace, his on-the-ball
With both
control
feet.
with both feet, too good. Neil Maupay, just a very strong striker, has a very commanding presence in the box. And like Fawaz said, it's not going to be an easy fixture for Everton, but regardless, their defense is in very good form. Seamus Coleman playing brilliantly.
amazing.
The lesser said about their centre backs, the better, because those two are the weaklings in those defense, in my opinion. Because Yerry Mina making very questionable decisions at times. I honestly don't know what he's doing. But if it gets the job done, Michael Keane also tends to make a lot of mistakes, but gets back in time when required.
Yeah.
But the fullbacks in that Everton side, Seamus Coleman and Luca Digne, brilliant players, absolutely in scintillating form. James Rodriguez in brilliant form. Alan bossing that
The
midfield.
full team is in good form.
Yeah,
The full
and
team is happy.
exactly. And I feel like Doucouré is the only player out of that midfield who's yet to shine,
Hmm.
because the signing of Allen and the way he's playing in that defense, in that midfield, the way he controls assists the defense as well, but also helps going forward. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
I feel with the signing of Rodriguez, Ancelotti's presence is like finally showing up in Everton's team. I feel
Yeah,
like
I
that
think
personally.
Calvert
That
Lewin
one
as well. He
signing,
scored a hat trick in
yeah,
midweek.
yeah,
that
Amazing.
one last signing made a lot of difference for that team. I feel, in my opinion.
yeah. I feel like for a UCL coach, for a Champions League level coach, he requires world class players like James Rodriguez to really shine.
Hmm.
But regardless, it's
Exactly.
just one player we're talking about. But the fact that he's done so well with this Everton side just goes on to show that Ancelotti still got it.
Yeah.
His treatment at Madrid might not have been fair, but regardless, he's now in a good position with Everton. Let's see where it ends up. Even though I'm a Liverpool fan, I'd just say, good luck to you guys for the rest of the season. You've done really well, and hopefully, you guys can continue your form. And yeah, uh, talking about the last fixture of on Saturday, it's Leeds versus Manchester City, and holy hell, if I don't say so myself, Manchester City really need to figure things out. Like
Yeah.
really need to figure
Exactly.
things
Yeah.
out. They started off their season so well by winning 3-1 against Wolves at Molineux, and for them to go back to Etihad and get beaten to a pulp by Leicester. And I don't think any of us predicted this.
No one did.
No,
Yeah.
we
Yeah,
didn't.
none of us predicted this, and I just want to know from Shashik, like, uh, I think we were discussing this beforehand, and we actually have separated us into a few sections. Me and Yasir think City are going to win this because, obviously, uh, City cannot lose two games back to back. For a club of that
Yeah.
stature, I don't think it has ever happened before in their Premier League season
You never.
that they've lost two games back to back in the last
I
I
think
three,
don't
so.
four
think.
seasons.
Yeah. I don't think it's happening.
Yeah, and I feel like Leeds, no matter how well they've played, there are obvious lack. There is obviously their game is lacking in some aspects.
But there's
Like,
There are
this stat
weaknesses.
that Leeds have won in 5 of their last meetings with Manchester City, and they've lost only one. So they do have a good record against City. But like I said, they've had an amazing start to the season.
mhm.
I feel like that they are the new Sheffield. I'm not going to call them Sheffield, but yeah, Leeds
Yeah,
are just. I mean, they're playing so well. They're scoring goals. Only some. I mean, their defense is a bit shaky, but then they're also scoring goals at the same time.
yeah,
That is why I feel like they have the edge against City because last week City's defense looked horrible. I mean, they were all over the place and they gave away 3 penalties.
yeah,
It was just
Yeah.
bad. And I know they've gotten new recruitments like Ruben Diaz and I think Laporte is back as well. But I
yeah,
still think these have this small edge because they have this confidence right now. I feel like Leeds do have an edge because they have a lot of confidence right now entering into this game. And City they have lost. I mean, they won't lose confidence, but they're still on that low after last week's performance against.
yeah.
Which is why I feel like Leeds have the edge in this match.
And I mean, to be fair, Laporte didn't start last game week, so you could obviously see Eric Garcia struggling to fill in that position. And Laporte has been so strong defensively for City, and I feel like people say that Leeds have had a very good start to the season, but all I can say is this start to the season has been as good as can be expected from a newly promoted side. But what happens when they come up against the top dogs in the Premier League? We have
We saw
seen them.
against
Yeah,
Liverpool.
like Liverpool, they crumbled in the last few minutes. They maintained pressure throughout the 80 minutes, and in the last 10 minutes, they just crumbled under pressure, gave away silly penalties, let Liverpool counter attack, and get a few more shots on. And I feel like
Yeah.
we've seen the exact same thing happening against Fulham as well. Like we said, their concentration just dipped in the second half. Fulham came out much the better team in the second half, and if it hadn't been for Ramsdale diving in the wrong direction when Patrick Bamford took on the header, probably should have been an easy save because it took a pitch before it went in. But regardless, they got the result. So kudos to
Yeah.
them. But I feel like,
I think this.
yeah,
Yeah. I think this is a must-win game for City because I think Liverpool are running away with it. I mean, they have had three really difficult fixtures and they have won all of them. That
yeah,
sets the tone for upcoming fixtures. And City have to win this. I don't see two ways about it because they are the contenders alongside Liverpool, like the sole. I mean, the two contenders for the Premier League
yeah,
title. So if they don't get a run going of wins and really good performances, I don't see how they can start
yeah.
like catch up to Liverpool.
I
It's
think City will lose it. I feel like City will lose it against Man City, against Leeds in like a very exciting fixture. I feel like
Yeah,
that
I feel like it's going to be
City
really.
lose it.
could be another
Cause,
7 goal thriller for all we know.
yeah, something
Hopefully,
like that. But they will
that'll be
lose
great
it.
for
I
the
feel
new.
like that.
I mean, fair enough. So when I previously mentioned about the groups being decided, so basically Hari, Shashik, and Fawaz think the fixture is going to go in favor of Leeds, whereas me and Yasir are thinking that City might just win this game because they haven't lost two consecutive Premier League games in like the last
Hmm.
4 seasons. And against Leeds, I really don't see it happening. Like we didn't see it happening against Leicester either, but that was a shock to all of us. But I feel like now that their defensive recruitments have come in, and I'm pretty sure Pep would have had a talk with his players. I mean,
Yeah,
no club who spent so much money and is at that level, competing at that level, is going to take this loss lightly. So I'm pretty sure they would have had their talks. They would have decided some tactics, maybe use the same ones, maybe just swap a few players around. But I feel like City are going to come out a much stronger side against Leeds.
Yeah,
And
400 million of
yeah,
defenders. It should be worth it. Otherwise, it's
hopefully,
like completely
hopefully.
odd move.
Speaking of fixtures to be played on Sunday, uh, pretty much a trail of normal fixtures, something you would see on your average game week. Newcastle United versus Burnley, and fixtures like Southampton, West Brom, Leicester, West Ham, And I would just like to ask Hari, Newcastle versus Burnley. I feel like both teams have struggled, and Newcastle very
Both teams have
lucky.
struggled,
Yeah, very lucky with the
Yes.
with
Let
the
me
result
see.
last week because of
Yeah.
VAR. So what do you think? How do you see this game
Compared
panning out?
to, I
Fucking
feel
punch you, bro. You let me
Newcastle
finish
will
my
win it.
question. No,
Like,
what? Before I ask your question, only you start answering.
When he
yeah,
stops
ask the
talking,
question.
just answer. Yeah.
Go
Yeah, I
on.
feel okay. Sirish, I feel Newcastle will win it like 2-1 victory for Newcastle. I feel because compared to Burnley, they have one win, one draw, and one loss. But on the other hand, Burnley has like two losses consecutively, like straight. So compared to Burnley, they are a better side, and they
Right.
don't have that great players. But still, if you compare it to Burnley, a team which is in like relegation zone. So yeah, I feel Newcastle will win because obviously they have to win it if they have to stay out of the relegation zone and stay out
Yeah.
for another Premier League season. And and if you see Burnley's game, I don't think so they are like gonna make it to next season of Premier League.
Fair.
Maybe it will end up as a draw, but Burnley won't win the fixture. I
I
feel
mean,
like that personally.
maybe. I mean, it's too early to say if we would see Burnley in the Premier League next
Mhm.
season or not. But
Like as you said, no, both the teams are struggling.
yeah,
So I feel either it will be a draw or either Newcastle will win it or else I don't think so. I don't see Burnley winning the fixture, in my opinion.
let's place a bet on this after we finish recording. Anyways,
Yeah.
yeah, I feel like Newcastle really need to start getting Callum Wilson some better supply if they actually want to see the full potential of him. And apart from that, not much to add to what Hari said. It's going to be a struggle for Burnley, and it's going to be a tough fixture for Newcastle as well if they want to win this. Talking of Southampton versus West Brom, Shashik, the form Southampton have been in. I mean, they started off really shaky, and now that they've gone on and gotten a victory on the board in the last game week, and the play coming up against the likes of West Brom, who have naturally struggled since day one in the Premier League, just haven't adjusted to the lifestyle in PL. And I see Yasser making faces down there, but come on, Yasser, the fixture that you guys played against West Brom, they got those goals because of your defensive errors.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Defensive lapses, yeah.
Goals that wouldn't have been conceded if you guys were tight at the back. But nothing to blame them. But I feel like West Brom just haven't been able to get into their gear. So Shashik, how do you see Southampton West Brom going, and
I
like in
see,
whose favor?
I see it's, I mean, easily in Southampton's favor. They got the win and they got that confidence now. But West Brom have just, I don't know, they blew a 3-0 lead against Chelsea. I mean, when you have a 3-0 lead against a top team, it is, I think, your responsibility to hold that lead. You at least try and hold that lead. But they just, I mean, how can you blow a 3-0 lead? I get it, it's against Chelsea. But still, but I still feel like this fixture will, I mean, it will go Southampton's way. Just purely because they look good. They looked bad in the start, but then now they picked up that form. So yeah.
Right, going to be an interesting fixture, Southampton West Brom, and I feel like Shashik said, Southampton going to win it. And next fixture is probably going to be one of the relatively more interesting ones out of the last three fixtures we've spoken about. Or last two rather. Leicester City versus West Ham. West Ham coming off a very strong 4-0 victory against Wolves. And Leicester City also displaying a brilliant performance against Manchester City, a 5-2 victory. And I just want to ask Fawaz, how do you see this match going? Because based on their last game week form, this game could go anyone's way.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, this game could go in anyone's favor, but the way Leicester have played this season too good. They made a brilliant start to the season. They're unbeaten right now. If I'm right, they're unbeaten, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Leicester, I clearly see that Leicester is going to win this because the way they've played, they have a good balance in their squad. They have good players up front, especially Jamie Vardy is there. Then their midfield is sorted. Even though their defenders are injured, their fullbacks are doing really well. And Nampalis Mendy, no one tries to give him credit because he hasn't played that well since signing for Leicester as Conte's replacement. But the way he's started the season, I mean, because of him, the defense shouldn't worry that much. Like how the other teams will attack, he'll take care of everything. And for West Ham, yeah, they beat Wolves 4-0, which was very shocking for everyone. They had a nice game, but I don't see them winning this one because they still have to sort out the squad. But like you said, this could be the beginning for West Ham. This could go in anyone's favor. So I am going for a Leicester win, but Premier League is always surprising, so you don't know what is going to happen. Yeah.
Speaking of the next fixture, it sees the top six side Arsenal host Sheffield United, and let's be honest, Sheffield's start to the season has been very, very, very rocky. I honestly feel like Chris Wilder is losing his mind watching the way his team is playing. Their forwards have just not been able to convert chances. McGoldrick, Billy Sharp, or anybody for that matter. I mean, I haven't seen enough of Lise Mousse at all. And I feel like, going off against us, facing off against Arsenal is just going to be another nail in the coffin for Sheffield, because Arsenal obviously looking to bounce back from their loss against Liverpool, which I feel like many Arsenal fans feel like was unjust or not deserved. But regardless, they have to move on with the result, and I feel like Mikel Arteta's focus will solely be on getting the victory against Sheffield United, which in my opinion is going to be pretty easy. So I just want to ask Yasir, how does he see this game going, and like in whose favor?
Yeah, Arsenal look like they're in great form. They won midweek against Liverpool, even though it was on penalties. I think Leno was brilliant in that game. He saved everything that came at him. This looks like it's going Arsenal's way because Sheffield have not been in great form. Sheffield will obviously be looking to use this game as a starting point for to pick up a point or three. But it just looks like it's going Arsenal's way because I think Arsenal, they have been in decent form, and it just looks like it's going Arsenal way. I keep saying this again and again because it's that kind of fixture.
Right.
So I'm going for the Arsenal win.
Fair enough. I think most of us are. And the next fixtures is just two teams competing to rebuild their form.
Yes.
Wolves were handed a very shocking defeat at the hands of West Ham last game week, like we've discussed earlier. And Fulham, as such, haven't had a great start to the season.
Why is Fawaz losing it? Someone said something, I think.
All right. Anyways, speaking of the next fixture, it's just two teams trying to regain their form in the Premier League. Wolves were handed a very shocking defeat, a very shocking 4-0 defeat at the hands of West Ham, and Fulham, as we've seen before, just haven't had the best of starts to their Premier League season. And I feel like it's just going to keep going downhill for Fulham. And I don't think Fulham have a single point on the table yet. And I don't see them starting their tally this game week either. It's a very bold assumption, but what can I say? I just don't see it happening. Wolves are probably going to win this game with relative ease, but I feel like if Fulham can deal with the pressure and they can feed some balls into Mitrovic, we could maybe see more of him. Mitrovic, who should have done well in the last game week fixture, but it is what it is. Scott Parker really needs to figure out what's going on with the side. But regardless, I think most of you will agree when I say Wolves are going to win this fixture with relative ease as compared to Fulham.
Just for the sake of FPL, I want Mitrovic to score.
I mean, probably everybody does, but regardless. Next fixture is Manchester United and Tottenham, and we're not going to be discussing that in this episode, and that is going to come out on our game of the game week, fixture of the game week rather. So please stay tuned for that as well. Moving on to the last fixture of the game week, sees the champions Liverpool go to Aston Villa, and I just want to ask Shashik, as a fellow Liverpool fan, do you feel like the loss of Sadio Mane and Thiago to the side is going to be difficult to deal with for Klopp?
No, I don't feel like the loss of Thiago will be that much of a problem because, as we saw last week as well, the team selection was good and we managed to hold Arsenal out pretty well. The loss of Sadio Mane will affect Liverpool. He's had a brilliant start to the season. He's He's scoring goals and assisting. He's just amazing. He's just playing well, and I think it will be a loss. But then if he does decide to start, if Klopp does decide to start Jota, then we might see. Jota's also been in good form. He got his first goal against Arsenal. So yeah, it will be a loss. But then if Jota plays well, then yeah, that's it. And then, but the thing is, last year, Aston Villa did scare Liverpool because they were leading.
Yeah.
And it was at Villa Park. So let's see how it goes. Hopefully we come out on top.
Yeah, I completely agree with Shashik. I feel like if Diego Jota starts, and Liverpool might have a easier game because now that we've signed Jota, he can fill in that left wing position. And he's had a brilliant start to his Liverpool career as well. Apart from that game against Lincoln City, I feel like Liverpool should be able to see this game out and continue their unbeaten start to the season. And yeah, good chance for Liverpool to pull away because this is their first fixture that's relatively not so difficult. But if Aston Villa have been in tremendous form, if I do say so myself, sitting fourth in the Premier League table. Exactly. And me and Fawaz had a discussion about this earlier off the screen, and we were just talking about how well Aston Villa have done so far. For somebody who just nearly missed out on relegation, they're doing pretty well. And I think all of them would agree if I said that Liverpool should see this fixture out in their favor.
Yes.
So yeah. Anyways, guys, that's it for our predictions and our preview for this game week. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to subscribe to our channel and also drop a like and share this video with your friends. If you are new around here, do follow our podcast on Instagram as well at the rate Pretentious Pundits, and do stream our podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. The links to which will be down in the description. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.
See you guys. Take care.
See you.